Asyhadu alla ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah.
Hello Muslim friends of the world. The history of the arrival of Islam in Korea and its development is interesting to know. Korea is a country located on the Korean peninsula in Northeast Asia. This country was divided into two after World War II in 1945, namely the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, North Korea, and the Republic of Korea in the south, South Korea. Religious life in Korea is quite diverse, dominated by Buddhism, Christianity, Confucianism, a traditional religion, and Islam being a minority religion. South Korea is dominated by Buddhism, Christianity, and traditional religions, shamanism. However, residents who are not affiliated with any religion reach 46%. Meanwhile, North Korea has more atheists according to their communist ideology. However, there are North Koreans who adhere to Buddhism and Christianity. It can be said that there are few Korean citizens who are Muslim, so they are one of the minority religions there. Korean Muslims are estimated to reach 100,000 to 200,000 people. Most of them are immigrants. The history of the introduction of Islam in Korea began with the outbreak of the Korean War on June 25, 1950. Zubir and Abdul Rahman, who took part in the Korean War as members of the Korean military service, began to introduce Islam. The Turkish UN troops were stationed in Korea. During his service he built a Quonset hut which was used as a mosque, a place to preach Islamic teachings to Korean citizens. As a first step towards effective Islamic work in Korea, the early Muslim Brothers organized a Korean Muslim society. These Muslims elected the late Muhammad Umar Kim Jin-kyu as president. Later, Korean Muslim leaders were invited to visit Islamic countries and several Korean Muslims were sent to Muslim colleges in Malaysia to be trained as future Islamic workers and leaders. Quoted from Islam Awareness, a Malaysian delegation led by Deputy Minister Tunku Abdul Razak and his wife, visited the location of the proposed mosque. Later, Haji Muhammad Na, a Malaysian government official, saw the need to establish a permanent place to carry out dawah activities. So, with a Malaysian government donation of $33,000, he handed over the money to the Korean Muslim community to build a mosque in 1963. Unfortunately, the construction of the mosque could not be completed due to various reasons, one of which was inflation. It is not an easy task to create a base for dawah activities. There are many difficulties that must be endured and resolved. However, Muslims continue to try to promote Islam with full belief in God Almighty. They succeeded in changing Korean Islam into the Korean Islamic Foundation, which was approved by the Korean government and officially registered with the Ministry of Culture and Information with registration number 114, March 13, 1967. The long dream of Korean Muslims came true. The construction of the Seoul Central Mosque was inaugurated in 1976. The existence of the Seoul Central Mosque and Islamic Center was a turning point in the history of Muslims in Korea. At the opening ceremony, 55 representatives from around 20 countries participated in glorifying the dream of Korean Muslims. The inauguration of the mosque came as a surprise to the increasing number of Muslim communities in Korea. The opening of the first Korean mosque contributed to the rapid development of Islam in Korea. According to professor at the College of Humanities of Seoul National University, Sung Hae-young, South Korea is one of the rare countries where people without religion outnumber religious people. According to the latest survey conducted by the Office of National Statistics in 2015, as many as 46% of Koreans identify as religious, while 54% do not. Munir Ahmad, 47 years old, who runs the Islamic Book Center in Yongsan, Seoul, has rarely experienced hatred or discrimination because of his religion or religious clothing during his 20 years in South Korea. Even when he walks in religious attire with his wife, who wears a hijab, most people just find it strange. However, they did not feel offended. When I talk about my culture or religion, first of all, Korean people are not very interested because they are busy with their own work. Second, when they hear it, they mostly have empathy and kindness towards me, said Ahmad. Several more Muslims who study or work here say that South Koreans are quite tolerant of other religions. People are rarely offended, angry or hurt in everyday life because of discrimination against their beliefs. However, when looking closer, South Koreans generally exposed to Christian-dominated American media and culture still have a psychological bias towards Islam, which is widely followed in the Middle East. The most powerful images of Arabia and Islam for South Koreans are terrorism, war, conflict, and danger. This is based on a survey released by Professor Kim Soo-won from Arabic Interpretation and Translation at Hankook University of Foreign Studies. The survey was released in 2016, but the perception hasn't changed much for many South Koreans. Kim Jae-han, 30, who converted to Islam from Catholicism about 2 years ago, has never been verbally attacked because of his religion. But he is confused every time he sees malicious comments about Muslims online. When I told my parents that I had become Muslim, they were worried at first. They asked if I was involved with some terrorists, Kim said. But as he continued to talk about his religion openly on his YouTube channel, his parents started to understand him little by little. My friends also thought it, my religion, was strange at first, but they didn't hate it or anything. I never really saw anyone hostile when I said I was Muslim, Kim said. However, what he saw online was different. On the internet, I see a lot of swear words and they say Islam is evil and a terrorist group. Honestly, I don't know why there is such a big difference between online and in person, said Kim. Meanwhile, several other Korean Muslims refused to be interviewed. They said he and his family had suffered from online hate comments following previous interviews with local media. As Muslims began to increase their presence here, conflicts began to emerge in the physical world as well. Two Muslims, Imtiaz Mahmood, 31, from Bangladesh, and Asadullah, 37, from Pakistan, are both postdoctoral researchers at Kyungpook National University in Daegu. They also rarely faced discrimination during their 7 years of living in Korea, but this year, they faced conflict over the construction of their mosque in a residential area in Daegu. The mosque is used as a place where more than 100 Muslim students studying at Kyungpook National University pray. And now it is being built with permission to extend the building due to lack of space. We have been here 7 years. We bought this place in 2014 and started our worship in the existing building. We have a very good relationship with our neighbors, and on several occasions, we have shared gifts, said Ola. Until February 5th, everything was going smoothly. When the iron pillars were installed, neighbors suddenly gathered in front of the mosque and started protesting, complaining about the noise and smell. He continued, hundreds of residents near the mosque submitted a petition calling for a suspension of construction. Meanwhile, the regional office accepted the request and ordered construction to stop on February 16th. Now they just say that if we build a mosque, people in the entire region may become Muslim, and property prices in the region may fall. Well, still, we found no valid reason behind this. Instead, we believe it's just part of Islamophobia, he said. Last month, a court temporarily suspended an order to halt mosque construction. And this again drew reactions from residents. Who would like it if religious facilities, whether churches or mosques, came into the middle of residential areas, said the representative of residents who opposed the development, COJ1. It's noisy and women are worried about going out at night. I received more than 1,000 signatures to the contrary, he continued. In early September, a petition entitled Protect South Korea was posted on the Chonghwa Dae website, where a petitioner demands that the construction of the mosque be stopped. More than 120,000 people support it. The author said major Islamic powers seem to support development with a strategy to convert Korea to Islam. They have become a threat to our residents, he said.